Good morning, Westwinds. If you're watching online with us, it is an exciting day because it's the beginning of October, which is spooky season. Yes.
I got excited for other reasons.
Oh,
for
well,
other
there'll be other
things
reasons
today.
too. But in addition to that,
Yeah. We have tables kicking off today. So they'll start, the first one starts today. There's tables every day of the week. If you're interested, this is last call, westwinds.org/next to get signed up. And then we have baptisms.
we do have baptisms today. We have two baptisms.
Two baptisms.
Very,
So
very cool.
We're super excited about that. If you want to be here, you have time. It'll probably be closer to noon.
Close to noon. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah, but we're really excited just to kind of, for these people that are taking this step towards Jesus and being baptized into this church body, which is exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're talking today about this practice of making commitments and keeping commitments, which isn't just like, I say I'm going to do the thing and I'm going to like check this box off the list, but really it's about showing up, being faithful to the things that we say that we want to do, that we decided to do. And because God's faithful to us, and God shows us that faithfulness through all the Bible, through history, and through our lives as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, when people are baptized, they're baptized into the body, so we commit to them to walk with them as they're walking with Christ too, with us. So,
And making that step. Awesome. Well, very cool. Well, if you're watching with us online, again, welcome. And if also maybe you were at the first service and you just wanted to tune in and catch the baptisms at the end, you know, we're happy you're here too. But we'll see you soon. We're going to get started with service in just a couple minutes, and we'll get underway.
name of Jesus Christ. Heaven and earth declare all praise to Jesus. Every heart and tongue confess your name above all names. All things of this earth belong to you forever. You will reign. Jesus, every heart and tongue confess your name above all names. All things of this earth belong to you forever. You will reign. You reign. Oh, you reign. Exalted is the name of Jesus Christ. Heaven and earth declare all praise to Jesus Christ.
All right, good morning, Westwinds. It's spooky season. Yes? Because it's October, of course. So this is when the bats come out. Not the literal bats, hopefully, in this building, but the proverbial bats, the bats we imagine in our hearts and in our minds. I don't know. So anyway, my name is Aaron. I'm the creative director here. As obviously, you can see I have quite the imagination. But, as it were, we're here together today, and you can see there's a special little feature. Give me a little light on that, Jeff. Come on. Oh, yeah. We got baptisms today. Yeah. Very, very cool. Yeah. So we have two baptisms happening at the end of the service today. So that's very, very exciting for us and for the folks who are getting baptized. Very, very cool taking that step. So we're really excited about that. And let's keep that energy going. Let's keep getting excited and worshiping God and learning and leaning in towards what God might have for us today. So I invite you to stand if you're able, and let's sing these songs together.
Look at your new roots. He's planted you anew. Rooted deep, stronger in your love. The tree of life drinks living water. You remain the same though seasons change. Hearts cry out, Abba, Father. Brother Jesus walks next to us, firstborn of many. He was raised from the dust. Different homelands, we now stand as one. Bound together, his love carries on. Sons and daughters, freed by his grace. He is our brother, he is our way. Bound as kin, stronger in your love from rootless paths to branches unknown. You remain the same though seasons change, hearts made new. Now we walk with you. You came to free us, and we bow down now. Our King walks with us, sons and daughters, chosen, restored. Our hearts cry out, Abba. You've already done enough. Gave your life to show me love. You've already done enough. Only love would choose a grave, pay what I could not repay. Jesus, what else can I say? All I know is you're my everything. I will live for you and no one else. No catch, no strings. All I am, I bring. I will live for you and no one else. You've already done it all. Healed my heart and saved my soul. You've already done it all. So from my next breath to my last, nothing less than all I have. I surrender all I am. All I know is you're my everything. I will live for you and no one else. No catch, no strings. All I am, I bring. I will live for you and no one else. All I know is you're my everything. I will live for you and no one else. No catch, no strings. All I am, I bring. I will live for you and no one else. When I say I love you, I wanna say it with my life. My heart will choose you every time. When I say I love you, I wanna say it with my life. My heart will choose you every time. as we shared in our sorrows, we will share in your joy. Bind us together in love.
Bind us together and be our peace. Bind us together and be our perfect peace. Though the tempest may rage, we will rest in your joy. Bind us together in peace.
Together and give us hope. Bind us together and give us endless hope. Though our tears were our bread, we will feast in your joy. Bind us together in hope. Bind us together and make us one. Bind us together and make us truly one. In your love, in your peace, in your hope, in your joy. Bind us together as one. In your love, in your peace, in your hope, in your joy. Bind us together as one.
You can go ahead and grab a seat this morning. How are we doing today? That's good. If I haven't met you, my name is Josh, and I'm one of the pastors here at Westwinds, and it's great to be together today. We have been in this series we're calling People Like Us, and it's about the things that people like us do together. We've been talking about these 8 different practices that shape us, and they might be new to some of us, but they aren't new to the church. They've been around for a long time, and we're joining in a rich history of people who've practiced similar things. I'm going to date myself a little bit today, off the top, and just say, does anyone remember back in the day you'd go to the video store to rent a movie? You go to rent a DVD or maybe even a VHS, if that was a thing. I remember my Friday and Saturday nights going down there with a friend, looking forward to it, walking into the video store and seeing the wall of endless movies, all kinds of choices. We'd walk down the aisles and try and pick one, like picking was half the night, I think, trying to find what we're actually going to watch. We'd watch these over-the-top, ridiculous 80s action movies or just these B-level movies that weren't actually any good, but we'd laugh at them and kind of roast them when we watched them. You'd finally pick out your film, you go to the desk, and you'd check out the movie. I had a membership card with my picture on it. This is a thing that we did. And you'd check it out, and they'd say, okay, bring it back in like 2 days. You go home and you watch it. You put the VHS on top of the VCR, and you forget about it. And then 2 days later, you're like, oh no, I have to get that back right now, or they're going to charge me $2 more for this movie, or it's going to be late. You'd race back to the video store. Back in the day, if you destroy one of these movies, it was really expensive. It was like $100 for a place a movie. Like, it's insanity. It was a big commitment. I think the video store was one of the first places that I learned about contracts, about commitments. Once you had that thing home, it was a commitment. And you know what? We live in different times now. There's been a shift, not just in technology, although that has changed, but I think culturally as well. It's easier and easier to be non-committal. You kind of cancel anytime. You aren't stuck with the movie for 3 days. On streaming, if the show isn't good, you just turn it off. You pick something else. There's endless options. How many of your past watched feeds are littered full of unfinished movies, unfinished TV shows, because you're like, that wasn't that good. I'll watch something else. There's no penalty to not finish. It's just something you do. We live in a world where commitment has become more and more shallow. Take the gym, for instance. I go to Planet Fitness. I see a lot of you there all the time. And it's like $10, $15 a month to go. It's less than McDonald's is. How do you run a business like a gym for $10 a month? They must have so many memberships. I'm sure that if everyone with memberships showed up one day, they wouldn't fit in the building. Their whole business model is built on people not showing up. That's kind of the whole thing. And they make the price just low enough that you're like, it's $10, it's $15, wait, I don't need to go. Like, what's the big deal? I won't even miss it. Think about Amazon. Subscribe and save. How often are you checking out and it's like, subscribe right now and save 15%. And you're like, I'll do that. And as soon as I get it, I'm going to cancel. I know you've done it. I did it this week. I saved 15%. It was a great deal. But it's so easy to just cancel. With movies or gym memberships or detergent, it's not that big a deal. But the thing is, this mindset, this cultural influence can begin to shape us and form us, and these things can spill over into the areas of our life that do matter. In our relationships, in our friendships, in our community. Today we're talking about the 5th practice in our 8 practices, making and keeping commitments. If you read the scriptures, all through the Bible, there's this central theme, an idea of covenant, a commitment between 2 parties. The Bible actually lays out 5 different covenants. We talked about them here before, a lot of them. There's God's covenant with Noah, his covenant with Abram. He makes a covenant with Israel through Moses. There's a covenant with David. And finally, Jesus says, I have come to make a new covenant. Over and over again, God makes covenants with his people. And today I want to focus on one of those. It's a covenant with Abraham in Genesis chapter 15. In Genesis 15, there's been this conflict in the land. And God comes to Abraham and he's like, Abram, don't be afraid. I'm your protector. It's going to be okay. In fact, your reward is going to be really great. And Abraham, he says, God, that's great and all, like, nice promise, but I'm childless. I have no one to carry on my lineage. What good is this promise to me? I have no one to receive all that I have. In fact, right now, this guy, Eliezer of Damascus, is going to receive my inheritance. And God says, in verse 4, he says, but look, the Lord's message came to him. This man, Eliezer, will not be your heir. Instead, a son who comes from your own body will be your heir. Look, the Lord took him outside and said, gaze into the sky and count the stars. And he nudges Abraham, if you're able to count them. And he says, so will your descendants be. And the text says, Abraham believed the Lord. And then God says, listen, I called you out of your homeland into this new space. I've invited you into this land, and I promise you one day it will be yours. Abraham says out loud what we'd all be thinking. He's like, okay, but how do I know? How can I be sure? So naturally, God says, go. Bring me a 3-year-old female calf, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a dove, and a young pigeon, like you do. And it says he took all these animals, split them in half, laid the halves facing each other, but didn't split the birds. Does this make sense to anybody? Is this normal for us? It's a little bit weird, right? Like, what's going on here? What's God doing? What's Abraham doing? And why all of a sudden, when God said, go get these things, he started slicing and dicing these animals into pieces? Well, what's weird to us, back then, the ancient Near East was very normal. Abraham was doing with God what was called a blood path covenant. Very common. That's why Abraham just knew what to do. And I was trying to think of like something in our culture that, like, when you hear something, you know like what to do after that, like a response you might have just automatically. And I have one, but I need your help today, okay? So if I were to go, Sweet Caroline. Exactly. Someone goes, Sweet Caroline, you go, ba, ba, ba. That's how our culture works. So when God says, hey, I need a calf and a goat and a ram and a dove and a pigeon, Abram's like, oh, of course. We're doing a blood path covenant. Yeah, I'll get them. And he starts slicing them up. In a blood path covenant, what they would do is really sacred ceremony, often between this greater party and a lesser party. Maybe it's 2 kings, or maybe it was a groom-to-be and his father-in-law. A really important commitment, often like a marriage ceremony. And they would take these animals, they'd slice them down the middle and lay them out. They'd find like a ravine or a gully where they would kind of meet in the middle. They'd put the one half on one side, one half on the other side, and they would walk through the middle of the animals. They'd often don these white robes. So as they walked, the hem of the robe would get covered in the blood of the animals. It's kind of icky, kind of gross. But you see the seriousness, right? And what they were saying is, if one of us breaks this covenant, may this blood be our blood, be my blood instead. In our story, this unusual thing happens. As the sun sets, a deep sleep falls on Abram. And in the darkness, this smoking fire pot and this blazing torch, 2 symbols of God's presence, passes through the blood path. Well, Abraham had just passed out next to it. Abram never gets up, and God alone walks the blood path. God's saying, Abram, I know you won't keep your end of the deal. And I will take responsibility for both parties. When you fail to keep covenant, I will bear the curse, and I will bear the cost. Well, Abraham sleeps. God walks. That's what God is like. He's a covenant-keeping God who commits himself to us even when he knows that we are going to fail. I think we can look at this God of the Old Testament, think he's the cranky God, the angry God, the mean God. But Jesus, he's like the nicer version. But I think when you really look, when you read the story, you see that over and over again, the same God who was back then is the same expression in Jesus. The same God pursuing connection, pursuing commitment with his people over and over again. He commits to us even though he knows we're going to fail. And Jesus is the exact same way. He calls these disciples, these fishermen, tax collector, ordinary people he knows will let him down, but he chooses them anyway. And time again, they fail him. Think about the night he was arrested. He's taken into custody, and all his disciples, they abandon him, they flee. He's all alone. Peter, one of his closest friends, who said, I'll never betray you. I swear on my life, I'll give my life for you, Jesus. That very night, he denies him 3 times. Or Judas betrays him for 30 pieces of silver and seals it with a kiss. His closest friends, he's been with them for 3 years and investing in them, pouring into them. Think about the Last Supper. They're at this table, reclining around it. He's looking across the table at Judas, across the table at Peter. These men who he loves and cares for, who he knows are going to abandon him. That night he takes this bread and he breaks it. He says, this is my body broken for you. Then he takes a cup. He gives thanks and says, this cup is the new covenant in my blood poured out for you. He knows these people are sitting there, they're going to betray him and leave him and abandon him. And he makes covenant with them anyway. If I was there at that table, if I knew they'd all leave me, it'd be really hard for me to commit to them anyway. But that's exactly what Jesus does. He's echoing Genesis 15, walking the blood path alone. But this time, it's his own blood he's offering. It's his blood poured out for the covenant. At the cross, Jesus bears the curse of covenant breaking. He takes on himself the result of the failure of his disciples, the result of the failure of the Israelites, of Abraham's family, the result of the failure of the entire world. Because God isn't waiting for perfect partners, for someone's perfect commitment. He's making a perfect promise to you and inviting you to accept it. And he's willing to pay the price when we don't live up to it. All through Scripture, God makes and keeps commitments. From Noah to Abram to Israel to David to Jesus. Committing to humanity and to us. And what happens next after these guys all leave him, deny him, betray him? He comes back and says, I'm not done with you yet. He meets Peter on a beach and he's like, Peter, I still want you to lead my church. And when Thomas is looking at the holes in his hands, like, Thomas, I still want you. He comes to all his disciples in the upper room and says, you're still going to be my people. And in fact, my very spirit is going to come down on you, is going to fill you, and you're going to go out and show the world my faithful presence. You're the ones that I've chosen despite everything. These same deniers and abandoners have become the leaders of the church. They're going to put the very nature of God on display for all of humanity. In Acts 2, it says this, it says, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. They were together and held everything in common. That's commitment. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. The church becomes this covenant community. And they aren't just private commitments with them and God, but they're public, communal commitments. They bind themselves together as a community. And as they live out this covenant, offering faithful presence, offering commitment to each other, expressing the presence of Jesus, people are drawn into that. Our world is longing for people that will be committed to them, that will be faithfully present in their life, who will make and keep commitments to them. These ideas are all over our Bible. Even Paul writes to the Romans, he says, be devoted to one another in love, joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with Lord people who are in need, practice hospitality. To the Galatians, he says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. The writer of Hebrews says, consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, encouraging one another. These are the things community does together. We make space for others. We hold space for one another. And when we falter, we allow ourselves to be held by the community. I know that making and keeping commitments is not easy. It's messy. We won't do it perfectly. We have people around us who hold space for us and stay committed to us, so we keep making them anyway. Think about a marriage vow. Like at a wedding, people make these vows to each other, to have and to hold, till death do us part, and for work, and sickness and in health. We add our own vows, like I'll always put you first, I'll always serve you, you're my number one, always. I don't know a couple that has kept all these vows perfectly. We all seem to miss the mark. And I know not all marriages work out, and even thinking about vows might be painful to think about how you've been let down, how fallible people are. But we keep on making vows. I'm sure there's a wedding happening today somewhere where someone's making these exact same vows, and they're going to fail at them. But vows aren't guarantees, but they're a hopeful goal for us. They're a trajectory for which we aim, something to aim toward. And because we don't do them perfectly, we don't throw them away or give them up. We come back to them. We recommit to them. Because vows aren't about flawless performance. They're about faithful presence. Aiming for them despite the fact that we can abandon and betray and scatter. Marriage is a picture of covenant. A picture where you're invited to keep on choosing over and over and over again. It isn't about coercion or manipulation. It's about choosing to remain committed. And it's the kind of faithfulness we're called into as God's people. In a culture of subscriptions and easy cancellations, of busyness, so easy to say, I did it for a couple of days, but I can't do it anymore. I'll do it for a week and then give up on it. Or how often do we say, I'm sorry, I just didn't have time. Can I say today that I didn't have time is a massive lie that we tell ourselves? We all have the same 24 hours in every day. From the teen flipping burgers, to mom taking kids to practice and to sports and to dance, to the CEO at a huge company, we've all got the same time. The difference is priorities. When we say I don't have time, what we're saying is that wasn't my priority. And that's okay. You can't just be honest with yourself, like, that wasn't my priority. Is okay to say. But if you keep saying I didn't have time, you're letting time be this villain for you and you're not being honest with yourself about what your actual reality is in life. Commitments force us to face our priorities. I remember back on my first jobs, my first kind of real-ish jobs, I was a paper boy, delivering papers, 6 a.m., cold Canadian winters. I remember just getting my yellow and black winter jacket on and my hat, and I had this Walkman I'd make mixtapes on, and these yellow headphones I put in my ears, and I'd put the papers on, I'd sludge through the Canadian snow and slush, and it was horrible, especially Saturdays. They'd shove the papers full of extra flyers and stuff. They're twice as heavy and twice as thick. I have to put on 2 bags, one on each side, and just try to make my way down the street wearing an extra 50 pounds. I'm like 12 years old. I remember some mornings I'd knock on my mom's door and be like, Mom, would you drive me today? And she would roll out of bed and put her coat on and start the car up and crank the heat, bundled up in the driver's seat. I'd open the door, running out, dropping paper off, running back, grab more papers. She's like, close the door, you're letting the cold air in. Oh man, I had this one customer. If I was like 5 minutes past 7 when they were due, he'd be calling the paper saying, where's my paper? And I'm like, bro, I'm 12 years old. I've been your paper boy for like 4 years. It's going to get there. Wait 1 second. I'm trying my hardest, okay? The times that I wanted to quit, I didn't want to get up. I'd oversleep. Mama called down, Josh, it's almost 7. Get out of bed. Man, there were times where I didn't want to do it. My parents, being good parents, would say, you know what? You committed to this. You got to do what you said you're going to do. You got to get up. If you want to quit, you can quit someday, but not today. Today you got papers to deliver. And every paper I walked to a door, every paper I shoved in my bag was an act of commitment. And it was shaping me and forming me and teaching me as a kid how to make and keep commitments to people in my life. As much as I hated that job at times, it taught me something about life. Commitments matter. Even when they're inconvenient and it's early and you don't want to get up and it's cold, commitments, they confront our comfort. They expose our excuses. But they can form us into people who can be relied upon. I'm not saying if you're stuck in a scenario that's bad for you, it's unhealthy, it's toxic, it's hurting you, you should just hold on and stay because you're guilty, you're forced to. There are things that you have to let go of at times. There are things that aren't life-giving for you, that aren't healthy for you, that aren't going to feed you or nourish you. I think God might be calling some of us into things that are going to be good for us, that are going to encourage, that are going to help us. You might need to discern today what you need to cut out of your life and find some commitments that are going to be good for you, that are going to be what God is calling you into. Make some room, some space for something new. Here's why I think all of this matters. Is that when we make and keep commitments, even small ones, we're formed. We're shaped away from these non-committal, flaky, easy-canceling people, these habits, towards a reliable, faithful presence in our world. We can be a reflection of this God who has always made and kept commitments to his people, even though they abandoned him. We can become these image bearers of what God is like. We were created to mirror God's covenant faithfulness in our world. When you show up for somebody, when you keep your word, you hold space for each other in the church, you're more than just being reliable. You're bearing God's image. You're showing our world that that's what his faithful presence is like. If you're here back during our Nest initiative about a little over a year ago, we had this idea of making space in our building, our budget, and our lives. We had this one person we were each praying for, someone that we're going to pray for and be with, and when the opportunity came, allow ourselves to be invited in. We're saying, I'll be present with you. I'll be committed to you, waiting for your invitation, because that is what God is like. He's present and patient and waiting to be invited into covenant. And he's already paid the price. It's not about effort or scheduling. It's about formation. Being people who reflect God's character. People who are longing for people to be present with them over time. Today in this space, I want to invite you to consider, is there something in your mind or space in your life that God might be inviting you to make a new commitment? Maybe you already have this idea in your head. Maybe in your mind for the past weeks, you've been thinking, I really feel like it's time for me to do this. You have been putting it off, or you may have a really clear picture today what that looks like for you. I would say just be willing to step into that. But today, if you're not totally sure what it might be or what your next thing might be, a practice you could pick up. I was going to give you a couple quick ideas, some small things. Right here at Westwinds, some easy ways to make a small commitment. Be joining one of our serving teams, our volunteer teams. It's like twice a month. You show up, you hold the door, you make some coffee, and in that process, you make space for somebody to feel welcome, to feel hospitable. Maybe you want to practice being committed to giving. Maybe you want to give $1 a week from now till Christmas, let's say. I don't care how much it is. But you're like, you know what? I want to work on being a more committed kind of person who makes and keeps covenants with people to be a better reflection of Jesus. So I want to give $1 a week because I said I would. I'll do that for 12 weeks. And that might be your next step. Maybe it's being in a table. Our table season launches today. They kick off. It's not too late. You could be at a table. Maybe just being here. Maybe you haven't been here like 6 weeks, and today you're like, you know what? Today I'm going to go. And for you, that's what you need. Like, I just need to be with my people in God's presence on a regular basis. And for 4 weeks, I'm going to be here. Or it's possible that your life is just chaos. You've got so much going on. You've got kids you're driving everywhere. You got a busy job. You don't know how you can take on one more thing. You're overwhelmed. I would just say, would you let us hold space for you? Let us be committed to you. Let's be a space where you can just be and rest and be restored. Let's be a place where you're welcomed. And we will hold that commitment to you because that's what God does for us. Let us put that on display for you. And if your life is too crowded, if you have too much going on, but you know there's things that God's inviting you into, but you got to cut something out, I would say figure out what to cut out today. There might be good things in your life that you like, but they aren't the best things. They're getting in the way of what God is inviting you into. Don't be afraid to reorganize your priorities. It's like, God, what do you have for me? What's going to impact your kingdom? What are you inviting me into this morning? Yes, we'll fail at some of these. We won't keep them all perfectly, but that doesn't make them meaningless. The point isn't about perfection, but about faithful presence over time. We keep showing up. We keep returning again and again and again. And in that process, in that practice, we're shaped into people that look like Jesus. From Genesis 15 to the Last Supper to the early church, it's the same story. Making and keeping commitments, it forms us into people who say Jesus is Lord of all in our lives. We orient ourselves around that truth. We embody his presence in our world and put his covenant promises into action and on display for the world around us. So may we, as God's covenant people, invited into connection with him, keep showing up, keep saying yes. As we make and keep commitments, we embody a God who's never stopped making and keeping commitments to his people. Would you pray with me today? God, I'm grateful for your faithfulness. Despite our failings and our imperfections, you've never given up on us. Us here and your church for eternity, you have been making and keeping commitments to us, and you keep inviting us back. Would you show us today how you want to shape us and form us, what it is in our life you want to work on or walk with or sit with us, what we need to get rid of or just receive healing or rest from. Make us into image bearers today that live out your faithful presence in our world. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thanks, Josh. That was good. See, normally the other guy preaches. We only get Josh every once in a while, so it's always a treat, right? All right, so just like Josh was talking about, we have tools here, ways that you can take small little steps or big steps if you want. You could make a 180 on your life if you wanted to today. That's up to you, but however the Spirit leads, right? But today, let's talk about a few things, a few tools that we have here at Westwinds that can help you in this sort of journey of keeping these new commitments, making these new commitments, knowing that we probably won't show up 100% of the time, but the value is in prioritizing that presence that we were talking about. So one of those things is teams, just like Josh was talking about. So we have a need for teams to be built up in the kids areas. We need more people who are, even just willing to be with kids, just sit with them and listen to what they have to say, or just to, clean the rooms between services, things like that are just simple things and ways that we can be hospitable to our community. We have lobby opportunities like greeters, people who help people in, some folks who might need some extra help getting into the building and assisting them. We have coffee being made, tea being made, different kinds of greeting teams. We also have hospitality teams, right, that meet throughout the week where we have certain events that aren't even Sundays. So there's Sunday and non-Sunday opportunities to serve on teams. And so a lot of different avenues and ways to get plugged in here at Westwinds.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have tables that kick off starting today. And there's tables every day of the week. And it's like Pastor Josh said, it's a 4-week commitment. But it's a great opportunity to just be together, be that presence for each other. So if you're interested, this is last call, westwinds.org/next. You can get signed up.
Exactly. And then an ongoing step that we're always inviting everyone in the community to consider is giving. Financial giving, because a building like this and the staff and the ways that we serve community of Jackson and pour into this place all requires time and money. So we do invite you to, if you want to take a first step in giving, you can do that by going to westwinds.org/next. Or there's always physical giving options, cash and check in the boxes you see in here and in the lobby, as well as a tap to give option if you're just wanting to not, necessarily like give us your personal information and all like the extra pieces. You can just do a tap to give in the lobby. That's super simple. So there's many different ways that you can give here at Westwinds and to continue to support and pour into this community as we serve those around us, as we serve each other, and do whatever it is that we can do that God has called us to.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron's going to lead us in a little bit more music, and today we get to celebrate baptism. We get to baptize. Yeah, I know, so exciting. We get to baptize 2 people, and we celebrate that here because we know that we're baptized into this body, right? This body that is historic, millennia of human history, and it's global, and it's here in Jackson County. And it's this outward declaration of this inward choice, this inward decision to center our lives on Jesus, to let the kind of that covenant faithfulness of God be something that we rest in and we trust in, and that leads us. And so we're going to celebrate that today. We're going to remember our baptisms. And we're, as a body of believers here, we're committing to walk with these people as they walk with Jesus. So I'd love to invite Abby up.
All right. We're going to sing a song about God's faithfulness to us. Even when we do have these failings, even when we do fall a little bit short of the mark, God always stands in that gap. Jesus always stands in that gap for us. So let's sing these words. Let's stand up. Let's have a little fun today. Let's hoot and holler for our friends who are getting baptized. Yeah. All right. Ready? Let's do it.
You never let me down. No matter the way I stumble down this You are the light. You are the light. I'm covered in your grace for all my days. Never look away, even when it hurts and it presses at your soul. And when I start to fray, would you stay with me? Would you make me whole? When I hit this wall, you pick me up and you never let me fall. You are the light. You are the light. I'm covered in your grace for all my days. You are the light. You are the light. You are the light. I'm covered in your grace for all my days. You are the light. You are the light. I'm covered in your grace for all my days. You are the light. Yeah. You are the light. You are the light. I'm covered in your grace for all my days. All right, let's celebrate with our friends one more time. Got baptized today. Awesome. So if this makes sense to you, if you're feeling a way, if you're curious, you just want to learn more, we really invite you to check out those gold chairs. There's people there who can answer your questions, help you learn more about these different tools and opportunities. But let's do it together. All right? Yes. Okay. We'll see you guys next time.